All right. Since I'm live, you guys can hear me. Please let me know. We'll get this started. Also, congrats to the overbetters, I'm sure. 12:38 today. And no, I did not forget to put my clock back, although losing an hour's sleep, absolutely brutal.
Favorite features, and I like to use.
And my YouTube stream started. So, I'll turn my phone off. But, hear me? Yeah, get my makeup on. I'm looking forward to today's slate. Should be a good one. I usually like these boring, short, flat tracks because, yes, it's not exciting to watch typically, but they are pretty projectable, and we usually see the same kind of faces up front, same kind of roster construction each and every single time. So I'm not going to say you're guaranteed to cash. It's easy to win, but kind of easier at least to project how this race should play out. Got my loud and clear from Andre, so that means we are good to go. Appreciate y'all being here. Had about 100 of you waiting. And yeah, looking forward to the slate today. It's going to be pretty chalky, I think, but I do think some of this chalk is pretty good. Let me pull my stuff up here, and I will get to answering any question you got. I pretty much said everything I wanted to say in the preview video yesterday, so just fire away any questions, and I will get to them eventually. And I got a donut from man Chris Jenkins, as always, and it says, congratulate him on his 20th super, so shout out to you, Chris. That's awesome. But it says, you're showing Hamlin being the top down by a good bit today. Does that make him a lock? Thanks for all the help, as always. I want to refrain from using the word lock in NASCAR because obviously anything can happen. We saw Justin Allgaier yesterday, not saying it's the same situation, but he had 3-second lead with 5 laps to go, and he has a tire blowout, ends up killing his day. So I'm not going to say anybody's a lock, but as far as being my highest owned driver on DraftKings, I would feel really comfortable with that being Denny Hamlin today. And we've seen the pole sitter typically perform pretty well at Phoenix, and that first pit stall is massive. And he's got all that going for him today. He's got a short flat tracks. Practice was pretty solid. I wouldn't say he was the best car in practice, but good enough in that track position is going to be huge. So yeah, definitely a huge fan of Denny Hamlin today. And if you're playing cash games, I would say he is a starting point. What's up, Tito? Says Truex or log out. Well, probably logging out if it's going to be a lot of Truex that I don't see myself getting there too often. What's up, Sean? Says good morning, CP. Happy race day. What do you think about Hamlin, Bell, Truex, Gibbs, and Barry on FanDuel? As always, thanks for the content. Yeah, no problem at all. As far as on FanDuel, assuming it's a tournament lineup, I don't think I'm going to get to a ton of Barry on FanDuel. I feel like I was more pro Barry on my preview video, and once I actually ran projections, he didn't feel as needed as I thought he would be because, you know, just initial reactions, which is what my preview video is, did it right after qualifying. I'm like, Stuart Hoskar starting 36. Yeah, he's probably a pretty safe cash play. Once I ran some numbers, he honestly didn't grade out as well as I thought he would. Like, he's not looking terrible, but I don't think he's an absolute must. But and on FanDuel, probably like him a little bit less over there. I really don't think he is needed, but overall, I think it's solid. But just wanted to put it out there that I don't think I'm going to be liking Barry as much as I probably made it sound like. And I wouldn't say he's a need for cash. Like, you can play him in cash, but he's not a need. Nemechek for the win. Whew, I don't know about that. Maybe it was an Xfinity race. Although Xfinity race was kind of fun yesterday. Got a little bit chaotic at the end. But I thought it was a fun watch. Dan says, are there any must plays for tournaments? I mean, besides the obvious plays that are more so cash plays like Hamlin, Bell. In tournaments, guys I like today to be overweight on, like Ross Chastain quite a bit, only $9,000, great history at Phoenix. Practice was so-so, good in the long run, which is what we were looking for. But I like Ross Chastain quite a bit. I like Tyler Reddick. I think he's got some dominant upside, and he is way too cheap. Also, back-to-back spring races, he has finished P3, and they weren't luck box P3s. He had an average rank position of 6.5 in those races, and, you know, Toyota looks amazing today, so I think it's a really cheap price point on him. The only issue with Reddick, it seems like every time we go down pit road, he just gets absolutely screwed. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. And then I also like Ty Gibbs and Chase Elliott as potential dominators. They're in the 8K range. And it's really all just about that track position. I mean, you're getting a Joe Gibbs card, only $8,000. Obviously, Ty Gibbs, young and inexperienced, but the talent is there. And the off chance he can lead the race early on instead of Denny Hamlin, you'll have quite the leverage right there. But he could take off fast laps and finish within the top 10. I gave him 35.5-ish points. That's fine. Chase Elliott, I have right around 40. So both those guys, I think, are pretty cheap to have dominant upside that have interest in for tournaments. What is the chalk FanDuel cash line? So let me see if I probably upload my stuff to FanDuel really quick. I've not yet built any lineups. You guys know I like to do it afterwards because I don't want to mess with my lineups. I don't want to have the nuts and then pivot off of it. I like to build after my live stream, after I talked everything out, and then I'll get my CSV in with a few minutes left, and we'll make it a fun sweat. So I just uploaded my projections to FanDuel here. So let me see what the optimal for me is. Not saying this is going to be the cash build, but right now my optimal on FanDuel would be Denny Hamlin, Bell, Kyle Busch, which I'm a little bit iffy on Busch today. I gave him a 16th place finish, which it's fine, but I feel like I'm going to try to get underweight on him in tournaments. I am a little bit concerned about the RCR speed, and we know passing isn't going to be the easiest thing in the world today. And then we have Joey Logano and Austin Cindric. So obviously you have 4 big name drivers in there, which sounds great. And then Cindric starting in the very back. So if you went the Denny Hamlin route, I don't mind that. If you do not go Denny Hamlin, there was a lineup I hand built earlier that I thought looked pretty good. The problem is it just doesn't have Denny, and if he leads 200 laps and wins the race, well, it just doesn't matter how good it looks. I'm probably going to want Denny in it. But that lineup was, I believe, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, and Bubba Wallace. So maybe more of a tournament build, but I thought that looked pretty good. But I feel like you're going to want Denny if you are playing cash games, because the likelihood of him dominating and maybe not winning the race, but finishing top 3 is pretty good. And even though the dominator points on FanDuel don't add up like they do on DraftKings, I mean, you still wanted Kyle Larson last week. He started second. Concha says, I commented Briscoe to lead 111 laps and the Nemechek to win on this chat. What odds do I get? Unlimited, I would say. What's up, Ryan? Says, who are the must-play doms and the cheaper guys that look good for place differential to fit in those dominators, cash lineups? Thanks. Let's go Ross the boss. You like Ross today. As far as must-play doms, I think you got to start with Denny Hamlin. And then after that, you kind of have weird doms, and then you have the hybrid guys that could also dominate. So I would say after Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, of the guys, and William Byron, of the guys starting up front. Those would be the other doms to put in the pool. But I really like the hybrid guys because they can offer you a little bit of place differential, and it would not surprise me at all if they can obviously get fast laps and maybe get up front at some point, like a Christopher Bell, a Ross Chastain starting 12th and 13th. You also have Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano all starting kind of mid-pack. They can work their way through the field and certainly be a threat at some point as well. So I would say those are like doms today. But for cash games, if you are playing cash today, you need to start with Denny Hamlin. You probably want to go with Christopher Bell. I said you could probably pick between either Christopher Bell or Joey Logano. If I have the choice and money's not an issue, I prefer Christopher Bell with Denny Hamlin. And then Austin Cindric's another guy that is pretty much a free square. I feel like I wasn't as high on him in the preview video. I was saying, yeah, him and LaJoy look like pretty somewhat similar plays, and I can see them both being chalky, and while that they're going to be chalky-ish, I think Austin Cindric's definitely the play between those two. The ownership's going to be extremely high on him, so he would be a cash game staple. He grades out a lot better than the others. So Cindric, of all the cheap plays, looks like the best way to go. When you're getting a Penske car starting 34th at bare minimum price almost, it seems like. What's up, Nick? Says, good morning, Chris. Which drivers are in the down group today? Probably just answered that one for you. So every driver I just said a few minutes ago, and I would want at least 2 of them. Steve says, stack Penske. I mean, that's not a bad strategy today. You can go Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Austin Cindric in the same lineup if you want. But since you're going that route, it's pretty much all PD, so you need to make sure you pair that with... You probably can't afford Denny with that, but if you could, yes. If not, Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, cheaper options that can potentially get dominator points early on. And Elliott was a guy that... I did say the AK range is full of good tournament plays, but I have gotten a bit higher on Chase Elliott as the recent 24 hours have gone. Once I factored in decent amount of dominator point potential with his starting position, he's in a Hendrick car, he's below $9,000 under Chase Elliott. Hasn't exactly been the greatest thing on earth for like the past year now, but at that price point at Phoenix, where he has had success before, he's definitely gone up my rankings a little bit. SS Jackson says, since dominator points aren't much on FanDuel, is the Pulsar a good play for cash, or plays like Bell or Logano outscore Hamlin? Yeah, that's a question I'm having with myself right now, because I'm not sure how much I want to play of Denny compared to the other guys. Obviously, I like him a lot. If we're looking at my FanDuel projections, I can show you guys how the thought process is on this. So I actually do have Denny projected as the highest driver on FanDuel for me. Not speaking ownership, but just numbers wise. I have him at 80.01. And if you guys do want access to all the projections, you know where to find it. Link can be found down below. Everything I reference here. So that 80 number, and if you look at the others, you have Christopher Bell right behind him, then Blaney, Larson, Logano, Chastain. Those are the guys right under Denny Hamlin. I'm giving him a 3.58 projected finish. Is fair, obviously. You can't project a guy to just finish 1, 2, 3, 4. Your projections aren't going to look that great. I gave him around 90 laps led, which might be conservative, might not be. But obviously, you don't get a ton of dominator points over on FanDuel. But that's giving him the edge. So I think you can play him for cash games on FanDuel compared to the other guys. But the thing is, you compare him with a couple of place differential drivers quite easily. So it really shouldn't be a, it doesn't have to be a one or the other. It can be both. What's up, S3? Says, I've got Bush, Cindric, Elliott, Haley, Hamlin, Logano. Let's make some money today. I wish you the best of luck. Looking good. What's up, Rick? Happy race day. Happy race day to you as well. Michael says, these practice and qualify times got me lost. Changed lineup a dozen times. Yeah, I was a little bit... Qualifying did not go how I expected. And a lot of I made 3 outright bets, and qualifying did not go well for any of them. I guess Byron did fine, qualifying in 5th, but I was not impressed with his practice by any means. I didn't hate Blaney's practice, and I didn't hate Logano's at all. But I thought they were going to qualify much better. So I don't love the odds I got. I like the drivers I have, but don't like the odds I got earlier in the week. So not expecting much in the betting streets this week from me. But you never know. Might luck into one, or hopefully Blaney and Logano got some speed late in the race. But your lineup was Hamlin, Bell. I love that. Gibbs, I like in tournaments. Elliott, Logano, then a punt with Zane Smith. Surprised that lineup fits, to be honest. I'm not sure how I feel about having the top 3 drivers. It feels a bit much. I would be probably fine with 2 of them, but you still have some decent place differential in there because you have Bell in 13th, you have Logano in like 20. He's 23rd, right? Yeah, Logano's 23rd, and then I can't talk you off it. Obviously, you need those guys to run pretty much where they are starting the majority of the day, which is possible. So guess we'll let it slide. Only for a tournament though, because it's a bit much. Probably feel better with just 2 of them. But what's up, Josh? Appreciate you being here. What's up, Clint? Happy race day. Time change really screwed me up this morning. Yeah, it wasn't fun. I planned on going to bed at 2. Next thing I know, it's 3, and it's 3:30. Then you wake up at 9. Have fun. Favorite down play says big deal. I would say Denny Hamlin quite easily there, just in really easy spot to dominate today. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but I had him at 51% chance to be the top dom today, which is by a large margin. What's up, Pugsley? What's up, Mom? Says hi, buddy. Greetings from Charleston, South Carolina. Hopefully you're having a good trip. Happy race day, NASCAR fans. Good luck to you all, and go Logano. Hey, this is one of those weeks where I'm with you. I want Joey to do good today, so don't have to root against you. Sean says, hit that like button. It's only polite. It sure is polite. Anyone on Cindric, says Sean? Yeah, everyone's going to be on Cindric today. Very heavy ownership. I have him projected to be top 3 ownership today. Yeah, everyone's going to be on Cindric. It's just the pivot options aren't that great down there. Sort this by, you can see it, but if I sort it by salary, the guys around him are Todd Gilliland, yeah, Carson Hocevar, just in a weird starting spot. Got talent though. Cindric, yeah, easy play there. Corey LaJoy, not bad. Then Alice Gross. John Hunter Nemechek's not a bad pivot off of Cindric. I mean, you can play both, obviously, but if you're trying to get off Cindric chalk, you have $6,500 left. I mean, John Hunter Nemechek, the legacy cars, and Toyota in general look pretty fast, so I don't hate that. Like, I got Nemechek projected for right around 25 points. I got Cindric right around 33. I mean, you're giving up some projection, but, you know, this NASCAR is obviously not the most projectable sport in the world. So. Hunter says Denny to the back. That is fake news. I know what you're trying to do. News says, is Toyota going to win today? I would say it's likely. I mean, the 2 best cars, well, I'm not sure. Well, Denny qualified on the pole, so I mean, that just makes up for pretty much just about anything. So he's obviously in a very good spot to win, but Christopher Bell looked like he had the absolute best car in practice. So I would say there's a decent chance Toyota could win. But you probably wanted to bet that earlier in the week, because I think it was at plus 190. And now, for Toyota to win, That is now plus 120. Well, the value is kind of dead on that. Kosovar, Cindric. I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking Cindric. Jason says Larson. What about him? For fantasy purposes, he's just really expensive. It's going to be really hard to fit in Kyle Larson. Not saying he's a bad play. I got him projected pretty decent, close to 5x. The problem is, if you look at the other guys in the price range, you have Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and that's who everyone's going to flock to. You also have Ryan Blaney, who I think is a great play today. I haven't projected over 5x. So we're just running out of money. And the 9K range looks good because you have Logano. If you like Bush with the place differential, you got him. You have Chase. Oh, you have Ross Chastain. And the 8K range looks good. So you're just running out of money. Is the only issue with Lars. He's a 20 max, 150 max kind of guy for me today. Ewok says, is it smart to play Denny Hamlin and Josh Pilicki in the same lineup, or do we just stick with Pilicki? I saw your name, and then I saw the legit start of the question. I was like, okay, maybe he's not going to say Josh Pilicki. No. Shouldn't have believed it. Pugsley says, my lineup is I went with Joey, Ross, Reddick, Cindric, and LaJoy, but every time I look at it, I hate it. It's a good build, though. Denny, main dominator. Yeah, Ross Chastain's a hybrid guy. Reddick could be a dom. Joey, good at short flat tracks, could be a hybrid guy. And then you have Cindric and LaJoy starting dead last pretty much. Should be able to gain spots, so I'm fine with that. Jason says it's not going to be Hamlin, it's Larson and Chastain. We'll see. Michael says I'm 5 minutes late, or in some people's world, right on time. Did I miss anything? Yeah, you're 5 minutes late, you're on time for me. Although, lately, 5 minutes late is still a little bit early. Dave says, how much money do you leave on the table? I'm currently leaving $2,600 on FanDuel. On FanDuel, I could see where you leave a little bit more money on the table. If we're talking DraftKings, I typically at these dominator tracks, you don't want to leave too much money on the table because you need to fit in those doms. So FanDuel, yeah, I could see myself leaving more money on the table. Looking at some of the top builds for me, one of them has 1,800 on the table. One has 1,300, and this one actually has 32. It's Hamlin, Bell, Logano, Bubba, Cindric. So yeah, FanDuel, some money on the table looks fine, but DraftKings not so much. Five Star says I'm a full fade on Hamlin today. If he burns me, he burns me. Oh man. Well, I can't tell you good luck because I don't want you to have good luck because I need Denny to do good. But we'll see what happens, I guess. What's up, Johnny T? Says Chris the man. Bush not a good cash play. Over on FanDuel, I keep going back and forth between him and Bubba. If I play Bubba, I can get him Brad K or Bush and Cindric single entry FanDuel cash. So my FanDuel Optimal does have Bush and Cindric in there, and it's relatively safe. I mean, that is the FanDuel Optimal for me. The other option would be like a Hamlin, Logano, Bubba, like a Bowman, or I don't know if you have the money for Reddick and that type of build, but it's tough. That is really tough. I'm planning on being underweight on Bush in tournaments today. I just have concerns with the RCR cars. I know Bush has a good history at Phoenix, but I mean, if you want to stay true to the optimal, it would be Bush and Cindric for cash games. And they will be chalky in cash, so it's not like it's going to be the big stance or anything. What's up, Bill? Justin Sports says, do drivers going to the back generally mean anything for DFS? Don't they always get the start position by listed as? Yeah, so for example, let's say, I don't know, Ty Gibbs goes to the rear today. He's not going to be scored from 36. He'll be scored from second. Q2 says, does Elliott have a chance to dominate, or do you like Hamlin more to dominate? Elliott can dominate today, but I would prefer Denny. If pricing doesn't matter, you can play both. But yeah, I would say Denny by far the most likely dominator today. I mean, usually the pole sitter's in a pretty good position at Phoenix. Yep, had to put the makeup on. Busher versus Brad K. You get a few extra spots with Keselowski. I'd go with Brad there. John says, Chris Bell 5-1. Is that the play? It's a little steep. So looking at what I have, fair odds for him were 570. I'm seeing 550. So it's kind of a coin flip there. So, I mean, I wouldn't fault you for taking Bell at 5-1. Oh, I guess that was 550. You could probably find 550 somewhere, I think. That was on DraftKings earlier today, I believe. Also, Denny at 550. I know it's short, but I do show a little bit of positive leverage there, but it just feels gross that number. But other than that, I'm not really seeing anything in the field that I like. Because I have outrights right now on Blaney, Byron, and Logano. Don't love where Logano and Blaney qualified, but I feel like my best shot's probably, I don't know. I want to say Blaney, but I just don't like the starting position. Usually, you can't win Phoenix if you start from outside the top 10. We'll see. Maybe Byron will backdoor into it. What's up, Chris Johnson? Friend says should have smashed the over 1138. Yeah, free money on the over typically. And what's up, Kenny? Let's get it, Mundo. What's up, Shark Killer? This is good luck, peeps. Even though I hate flat tracks, don't understand the point. They are boring, but for DFS, I like them. Yeah, always gotta stay hydrated. The bottle today. Although I guess the camera doesn't like it. It's like it must be a see-through color for it. Who's my favorite outright bet? I mean, right now, Hamlin at 550 is the only one that I have value showing. Depends on what book you're looking at. I already mentioned my outrights. Don't like the odds I got. Although currently Blaney is 750, I think, on DraftKings. Is that what it is? I got him at 900 earlier in the week, so I mean, I guess I can't feel too bad about that. Yeah, we have Blaney at 750, so I guess I can feel good about that, right? We got some good line movement there. But I got Logano at 900, he's at 12 now, and then I got Byron at 750. But he did qualify the best out of it. So we got that going for us. What's up, C. Mitch? Says, good afternoon, Chris. Haven't watched your driver breakdown video yet, so I got some work to do after this live. No problem at all. Best of luck to everyone today. Best of luck to you as well. What's up, Miss Jules? Good luck to everyone, and go Blaney. Yeah, I'm definitely on the Blaney train today with you. And I think you're going to the gym soon, so have a good workout. Over on Ron John stickers on cars today in public parking lot. Probably on the over. Yeah, done it from Brandon Roberts. Appreciate that. Says I have Hamlin, Logano, Elliott. I have 3 spots left on DraftKings. I have $21,000 remaining salary, and I have no idea who to go with. Well, I like the start. You have Hamlin and Elliott as your DOMs. That's certainly possible there. Then you have Logano, hybrid guy. Could be a top 5 contender. Starts 23rd. I like that a lot. You have 21-2 with your remaining salary. Well, I'm not saying to absolutely play this lineup, but if I lock those 3 in my optimizer, I'll tell you what kind of builds they're looking like. So some examples I got. You'd have Hamlin, Logano, Elliott, then a Reddick, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric. If you want to go double punt, I mean, they're not really punts, but they're kind of priced like it. So this one doesn't look too bad. It looks a little bit risky. It's got Wallace, Eric Jones, Cindric. Wallace, John Hunter Nemechek, Cindric. So something like that. I mean, you can make a pretty good build with those 3. Still get another decent driver in there. Would appreciate the dono. What's up, Obi? What's up, Albert? Peter says, thoughts on Larson and Blaney. How do you feel about Kyle Busch? I think Chase can dom favorite hunt. So Larson and Blaney, the only reason you're not getting to those guys as much is because of the price points. I feel like I slightly prefer Ryan Blaney, just excellent at Phoenix in the top 5 every single next gen. In the next gen era, he's in the top 5 every single time so far. He's got the most dominator points. Almost won the fall race. Ross Chastain got him. But yeah, he's amazing at Phoenix, so probably slightly prefer Blaney there. And what was the rest of the question? Kyle Busch, yeah, he's starting far enough back. I have him projected for 44.5 points, which is 4.8x, which not like it's a terrible day, but I just think there's better plays. I'm not sure what the ownership's going to be on him. I have him in the mid-20s, mid to upper 20s. I just don't know what everybody else is thinking about him. Like, are they just looking at the starting position, and it's Kyle Busch, and he's cheap, so they're just jamming him in? But the practice speeds are very, very concerning. So, and his teammate Austin Dillon looked awful too, and they both qualified, I think, 30th and 31st. So, I got my concerns on Kyle Busch. I do think there's better ways to go. And yeah, Chase can dominate. Favorite punts, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric. And if we're talking the 5K range, it's really ugly. But Harrison Burton, Zane Smith, I guess. Really gross, though. Good morning. I have Hamlin, Gibbs, Wallace, Blaney, Cindric, and the Joy for our DraftKings DVP. Single entry. Thanks again for cut out, but you're welcome. Looking at this build here, we have Hamlin and Gibbs up top, which is fine. I know it's 1-2, but Gibbs is cheap enough. Wallace, place differential, Blaney. Yeah, I think that's fine. Fine build. Parker says Bowman or Barry and Bell or Chastain. I would take Bowman over Barry, and I would take Bell over Chastain personally. Bugsley says, do you prefer Joey Ross or Bell Busher? Other drivers are Denny, Reddick, Cindric, and the Joy. I'll take Joey and Ross there. I like that combination. Like, I love Bell, but Busher's not too high on the totem pole today. So if I can get Joey and Ross together, yeah, I'll take that. Pete says Oakley's going to be sad today. He might be. Might be. Riker says, I'm going with a lot of Cindric this week. Yeah. He's going to be very popular today, but he projects well. I mean, if he just doesn't have a stroke on the track, he should be fine. I gave him I thought it was conservative. I gave him a 23rd, 24th place finish. That still equates to roughly 32, 33 points. So, I'm a little behind market on that because I think his odds place him around 20th. But still projects amazing for DFS purposes. Favorite tournament plays? Ask Ethan. I like Ross Chastain a lot in tournaments. I like Tyler Reddick. And then Gibbs, Elliott, guys I'm getting to as well. Just some potentially under-owned dominators with potential for it. Obviously, they carry a lot of risk, though, for where they're starting, but track position usually is pretty important here. Howard says, going chalky with Hamlin, Gibbs, Bell, Barry, Zane, and Reddick, and 120 GP. What do you think? I don't think it's too chalky. I mean, yeah, Hamlin's chalky, Bell's chalky. I don't think Gibbs is going to be insane. Barry won't be insane. Zane's not going to have much ownership. And Reddick, I mean, yeah, Reddick will be over 20%. It's not like 40 like last week. So, yeah, I think that's fine. Stanley says, what's the best? 2 DOMs, 4 place differential, or something else? I mean, you just want at least 2 DOMs, and then I don't really want to say just place differential because it isn't really a track where place differential is absolutely king by any means. So if you want to play a lot of the front guys, I'm fine with that. But you want at least 2 DOMs. Favorite 11K drivers in tournaments. So my favorite 10, 11K drivers are going to be Hamlin and Bell, but if we exclude them because they're chalk, I believe I have it Blaney and Larson next. But very expensive. Tyler says, will Eric Jones stay in the top 10? Yeah, I have him projected to finish outside the top 10. I think I gave him an 11th-ish place finish, which honestly felt a bit high. But starting in 4th, he showed speed. You got to give him some respect. That's roughly 27.5 points. Him and John Nemechek pretty much project the same for me. Nemechek, I'd say probably has a bit of a safer floor starting in 19th. But Eric Jones has the track position to work with. Logano optimal over Busch. I do prefer Joey over Busch today. I think that car's got more speed. Yeah, funny potato. Your 30 favorite plays, and does the track have lights? It's a good one for you know who. Chris says, Cash, pick 2, the Joy, Nemechek, and Barry. Money's not an issue. I would say Nemechek and Barry, I believe, is what my projections would say. Yeah, Barry and Nemechek. John says, can you give a quick breakdown on FanDuel scoring? I realize you want to find guys that will move up spots, but is having the winner of the race essential to winning a tournament? Typically, it would be. But FanDuel scoring, it's definitely different than DraftKings, so you're not getting the fast laps. You're only getting 0.1 for laps led, and you're only getting half a point for each time you pass a car, or you're only losing half a point. So, for examples today, for Denny Hamlin, he's still my highest projected driver on both sites because of the laps led. I got him for 77 on DraftKings. I got him for 80 on FanDuel. DraftKings down points, I got him roughly around 38, 40 points, and on FanDuel got him for about 40. So, I mean, yes, the scoring is a bit different, but you're still playing the same guys for the most part. Although on FanDuel, I tend not to play the cheap guys very often. On DraftKings, you have an extra driver slot. So it's just the nature of how you build on DraftKings, and the dominant points are a bit more important. But on FanDuel, I tend to get a little bit more balanced over there, if that makes sense, because I don't want to play Justin Haley on FanDuel today. But if you're on DraftKings and Justin Haley makes it work to where you could fit in that second or third dominator, that's fine. But on FanDuel, you really don't need to do that. Eccentric's fine on FanDuel today, but even then, I still don't like him on FanDuel as much as I would like him on DraftKings. What's up, Jasper? This is my 5th NASCAR season rolling with you. Have I been doing this for 5 years? Doesn't seem like it, but I appreciate you being here for so long. And you're welcome. Zach says, Ty Gibbs or Bubba for tournaments. I have Bubba projected better. I mean, I guess I'd say Bubba, but the ownership's going to be higher, but projection-wise. Although Ty Gibbs is one of the guys right up in tournaments today. If you are potentially going to be underweight on Denny Hamlin, you need to be probably overweight on either Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, or both. So it's going to depend on the rest of your build. Because if you have a lot of place differential in there and you don't have Denny Hamlin, I would say Ty Gibbs. But if you already have a lot of guys up front, I would say Bubba. What's up, Andy? Says, please consider hitting that like button if you're enjoying the content. It really helps the channel grow. Appreciate you, Andy. How much Hamlin is too much? I think he'll probably be in the 40s for ownership today. If he's not in the 40s, high 30s at the very least. So how much do you like him? I know some people last week were going 80, 90% Larson. He's about 50% owned, 45. So, I mean, you got to plant your flag. I like him a lot, obviously. So if you wanted to go really heavy on Denny and ride with him this week, because if you only have 50% and he crushes, like, yeah, sure, at least you have half your lineups, but so does everybody else. So you're not really making too much of a difference there. Like last week on FanDuel for my 20 max, I had a couple. I played in 220 maxes. I finished P2, I think, in both of them, and I had 75% Larson. I had 65% Byron. We know that didn't really end well with the trash bag, but I was going really heavy on the guys I liked, but still had a couple slip through. And obviously, having that much Larson when he was like around 40, 50% on FanDuel, I believe, just gets you over the hump a little bit. Thoughts on Bubba and Reddick? I like both those guys a lot today. I mean, cheap Toyotas, they were fast. Especially Bubba in practice. He was first in the 10 lap. So I don't think he's going to be finishing 10th today, but he should be in contention for a 10th, 15th place run, I think, today. I thought he was going to queue much better. Just says, do you feel better about Jones or Briscoe on DraftKings? I would rather have Briscoe. I really like Briscoe at Phoenix, typically. Pulling up his numbers in the next-gen era so far. Obviously, practice wasn't amazing for Briscoe, but average finish of 9th, running position of 10th, has a win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s. But practice was concerning, but I like the good qualifying speed. I like track position will be good. This is a good track type for Briscoe as well. Kosovar starting too high to play. Now, I thought he was last week, but he really held ground. But starting in 10th, I mean, that's just really tough. Good in practice, though. 10th, 7th, and 9th in the 1 through 10 lap runs. 25th and the 15. But the only issue I have with getting the Kosovar is, I mean, I can play Austin Cindric for $200 more. I can play LaJoy for $300 more. He's been a tough guy for me to get to. Penske stack plus Chase, finish with Chastain or Reddick. Well, I guess really, those guys make a difference for the roster construction of that build. So I have Ross projected higher, so I'd go with Ross. Good afternoon to you as well, Andy. Thank you for being here. John says, Gibbs and Hamlin make sense in the same GPP lineup. I am fine with that. I mean, if you were playing the Xfinity race yesterday, if you played Chandler Smith and Professor together, I mean, stacking the front typically is not a bad way to go here at Phoenix. And Gibbs is cheap. Like, it's not like we're paying $11K for Hamlin, $10K for Gibbs. I mean, if Gibbs has a solid run, finishes in the top 8, which I think is certainly possible, and he mixes in some fast laps, he can get you around 35 points. You're not going to hate it at $8,000. What's up, Travis? What's up, Cowboy? Good to be back racing. Thoughts on Nemechek versus LaJoy? I like Nemechek's upside just a little bit more. I know LaJoy offers more PD upside, but I think Nemechek will have a better car. How many diamonds would you start in a lineup? I'd have at least 2. 2 to 3 is the best way to go. Matt says, favorite play other than Cindric under $6,600 on DraftKings? Gunnar Nemechek would be the next guy up for me. I like him. And then Corey LaJoy, I guess. That group. Lots of John Hunter questions today. I guess I won't answer every single one because I probably answered you already. Bob says, hey Chris, who do you like to win and is there any value at current odds? I have Danny projected to win currently. I show somewhat slight value at 550, but still feels a bit short to bet on. But other than that, no, I have nothing in the field that shows value. Although there is a head-to-head Bo Wallace at plus money versus Kyle Busch, and I wouldn't hate taking a chance on that. I do think Bubba's got a better car today. It's always tough trusting Bubba, you know? What should we be targeting in a single entry ticket? Well, you got to start your lineup with at least 2 DOMs. That's the best way to start out. And then, yeah, fill in the rest. But that's your priority right there. Got to get those DOMs in. Is Corey LaJoy better than Barry? I don't believe so. No, I have Barry a little bit higher than LaJoy today. By a little bit. I mean, I have Barry at 29 points. I got LaJoy at 24. I'd start with Barry there. So I'll get over 400 here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me on Sunday afternoon. I believe lock is at 3:30 on FanDuel, 3:45 on DraftKings, usually what it is. So we got plenty of time. We're not in a hurry. Brandon says, I'm torn. I want to have Hamlin, Logano, and Elliott, but I'm not sure how to put. Already answered that one in the don't know. Ryan says, outside of Cindric, what sub 8K are good cheap place differential? $8,000 or below? For place differential, I mean, I like Bubba Wallace and Alex Bowman quite a bit. Josh Berry would probably slide in next. So yeah, other than Cindric, I mean, Nemechek, Berry, Wallace, Bowman, as far as place differential is concerned, would be the guys I would get to. Bad idea to be under the field on Cindric and GPP. I mean, I wouldn't say it's bad. I'd be curious to who you're going overweight on at that point. Probably more Connor Nemechek, which I'm fine with. Maybe you're taking more chances on Hocevar, hoping he can hold that ground based off practice speeds. Probably more LaJoy. Not like Cindric. I mean, if Cindric finishes 25th, it's not like he's an absolute must in everything. Depends what the other guys do. Michael says, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the noti bell for all the NASCAR you can eat. Yeah, hopefully you didn't have lunch today. We got a lot of talk. Bush is Kush. Says, in my opinion, you're going to get the same results with Kaz Gralla. Not sure about there. Jacob says, Barry, Cindric, and LaJoy going to earn some points today, right? You would think, to a degree. They'll earn some points. Zach says, favorite play under 8.9K on DraftKings for tournaments. Probably Tyler Reddick would be my favorite. And then Elliott Gibbs. But yeah, Tyler Reddick is the one I'd probably feel the most comfortable with. A little bit more PD in there. And it's like all the Toyotas. Spot. What's up, Lita man? Just chilling. Then Al says, Blaney Byron or Blaney and Logano? I would go with Blaney and Logano, personally. But if you do go that route, you got to get someone else up front. I mean, you're going to miss out on the early down points if you just go Blaney and Logano up top. The Dom group today, pretty much, it's usually always the same kind of guys, but you're going to want Denny in there, Ty Gibbs, Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, Chastain, Bell, Byron. Then some of the hybrid guys you can throw in, like Larson Blaney and Joey Logano. I didn't really mention Truex, but you could throw him in there. I'm down today, but we'll see. And I want at least 2 of them. Barry or Eric Jones? I have Barry a little bit higher. Just a little bit, though. Then also Nemechek. I feel more comfortable with Nemechek. I'm going to say that name. Logano and Bowman or Bubba and Chastain? Chastain and Logano and Bowman? That's a good question, actually. Let me see. Yep. Chastain, that's close to 90 for the projection on the Bubba Chastain round. If we go Logano and Bowman, about the same. I guess I would lean Chastain and Bubba, but it's very close. Kyle Larson's your pick. You can never count Kyle Larson out on any track. Ethan says, thoughts on Chastain, Gibbs, Hamlin, Hocevar, Reddick, Wallace for single entry on DraftKings? Yeah, it's a decent mix of some chalk and some lower owned guys. Like, Ty Gibbs isn't going to be unowned, but he'll probably be in that 15-20% range. Hocevar is the one that's going to get you different because you don't have Cindric. So that's fine. I mean, obviously a lot of risk there starting in 10th. Most likely he will move back, but it's just a matter of how much does he move. On FanDuel, I'm picking Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch better win. I don't know about Kyle Busch winning today. Matt says, how quickly do you think we will start to see cars getting lapped? Always worries me at short tracks. It just really depends on how slow those guys in the back are. I don't think it'll take super long. It's not like it's a half-mile track or anything. It is miles, so it'll take a little bit longer. But you can get guys that will get lapped. And if you have a guy that's a lap down, it's not going to be at the end of the day because they'll be battling with other guys that are lap down, especially if they're cheap enough. But if a guy like Kyle Busch goes a lap down and he just gets stuck in traffic back there, that's one of the worries. I don't think it'll be that bad, but you can't rule it out. I'll never forget the Martinsville race. I think it was a couple years ago where there was like Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. starting close to 30th, and they just got stuck all day. Obviously, Martinsville is a lot different than Phoenix. Always have memories of that one. What about the DraftKings optimal? Guess we can look. DraftKings optimal is Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Wallace, Nemechek, and Cindric. I don't dislike it. It looks good, but I don't know. All right. Yes, hitting the like button goes a long way, Clint. Bull says is 4 potential DOMs too many? No, I guess not. I mean, because you could easily go like a Hamlin, Gibbs, Reddick, and some other 8K or maybe low end 9K guy. It could work. And just wouldn't really want to get to like the Derek Krauses of the world though. Harrison Burton has officially entered the BJ McLeod category. Never. Yeah, I hate Harrison Burton as much as the next guy. But for the 5K guys this week, I actually don't think he's the worst play. Because, I mean, these 5K guys just suck this week. They're all super, super slow. But if you look at Burton's numbers, qualified well, which always makes it feel a little bit uneasy. But having the track position's fine. But he looked decent in practice. 23rd in the 1, 19th in the 5, 25th in the 10 is not amazing. But I'll take a 25th out of Harrison Burton at $5,400. I wouldn't complain about that. 17th in the 15 lap. That's better than Ricky Stenhouse. Right on par with John Hunter Nemechek. Cindric. Although I believe it was this race last year where Harrison Burton, wasn't it like with 4 laps left, he wrecked? Or I don't know, something like that. He screwed over Harvick for the win, I believe. That's what this race was. I guess it had to be because this would have been the only place that Harvick would have almost won at. Hey Chris, who's the best play in the 7K range? For me, it's Bubba. He's really fast in practice. Looking at some of his Phoenix numbers, they haven't been too bad. 2 top 15s. Hey Chris, I'm going 150 lineups. Who should I cross out of my optimizer? Crossing off. You can probably start with most of the scrubs in the 5K range. I wouldn't be playing McDowell. No Gregson for me. Starting point, I want to list everybody. I'd start with that. Larson or Chastain to win? If I had to pick between the two, I would say Chastain. Peter says, how chalky do you think Hamlin, Joey, Bell in the same lineup will be? I mean, to a decent degree, it will be chalky. If we lock those guys in, I want to see what the build would look like. Logano's a little, not like pricey, but you can still build a very solid lineup with those 3 in. So if you went with Hamlin, Bell, Logano, you could go Bowman, LaJoy, Cindric, or Reddick, Cindric, Haley. I know that sounds gross. Wallace, Cindric, Hocevar. So you can still put together a decent lineup if you use those three. What's up, Dace? How do you feel about John Nemechek and Turney's? No issues with him today. I do like him. What's up, Sarugi? Thoughts on this for FanDuel? Hamlin, Bell, Logano, Cindric, and Bush. That is my current optimal. Seems chalky. Still trying to figure out what I want to do with Bush on FanDuel because he is cheap. Cheap on both sites. And he just feels like a decent spot to be a little underweight on today. I mean, I'm still going to have him in some of my builds, but single entry and 3 max is what I'm deciding. And a 3 max, I might play him once, or I might just go. We'll see. I mean, on DraftKings, though, there's so many other options. Chastain right there, Logano, Elliott, Reddick, Gibbs. I mean, Bush just did not have a ton of speed. 29th in the 5, 26th in the 10. Was 14th in the 15. So we'll give him that, but lack of track position is going to suck. No, I don't really care about the crew members missing. Yeah, Chastain can be a dominator today, for sure. Starts in 12, so it's not like he's in the back or anything. Like on what site, Tito? Because I still don't know how to view the price picks board for NASCAR anymore. Since they locked us out in Florida. Yeah, I think Joey can move up to the field. I'd be surprised if he got stuck all day. He should be able to move up. Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Gibbs, Cindric, and Nemechek. I think it's a pretty solid lineup. Got several potential dominators there, and Cindric and Nemechek are pretty much my favorite cheap plays. Last Cowboy says online betting goes live in North Carolina tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, if you are in North Carolina, congrats, enjoy, and make sure you take advantage of all the bonuses. Right? Some people always hear people say like, "Oh, I only use DraftKings. I only use them all. Take advantage of it. They're gonna give out free money." I remember when I went to Ohio, I was like, Tipico, DraftKings, FanDuel, Fanatics even has a sports book. So make sure you guys check out every book, grab all their bonuses, and best of luck on it. What are you setting your exposure cap on Hamlin for GPPs? I mean, I don't really think you have to have a cap. I'm not going to play 100% of a guy, but if you wanted to play 70+% in that range, I'm fine with 80 even. If you truly like Hamlin today and you don't want to be underweight, you need to be playing probably 70 plus to get leverage, decent leverage. Alex says Chastain and Reddick or Blenny and LaJoy. Chastain and Reddick for me. Contrarian, McDowell, or Suarez. If I had to pick between the two, I'll take Suarez. I feel like he could probably hang around where he's at, somewhat close to it. Pretty much practice right around where he's starting. If he can hold 15th, of course, McDowell's going to move back, though. Priest top 10? I don't know. It's a tough road for a top 10 for Priest. Bell, Cindric, Hamlin, LaJoy, Logano on DraftKings. Yeah, you got a few dominators there and some place differential mix in. I'm fine with that. Favorite under 6,500 besides Cindric? I mean, if John Nemechek counts as 6,500 under, yes. But if not, I would say LaJoy. What's up, Juan? Says Chris Larson for the back-to-back. Let's go, Team Hendrick. I don't know if Larson's gonna win today, but I'm sure he'll contend. Someone on Hendrick's gonna contend today, but I don't know if Larson's gonna get up front. We'll see though. Thoughts on Willie B? Well, if he doesn't find a trash bag, hopefully it doesn't suck today. That was. I don't know if you guys watched. I don't know. Some people probably don't watch the race. Man, it sucked last week. Byron had one of the best cars in the field, and then he finds a tent cover on his car. It seemed like, and had a pit. Very unfortunate. At least we got a top 10 out of it. Got some fast laps. That wasn't like you were dead with Byron, but man, it could have been a great day. Probably could have been able to challenge Larson and Reddick. But for today, I mean, he's just in a tough spot because if at that price point, I feel like you can get pretty similar upside with Gibbs and Elliott, and they're much cheaper. Like I'll have some Willie B, but I was not too impressed with his practice numbers. Track history is good though, so it's a bit of a balance out. It wouldn't completely surprise me if he was like P2. If he could probably get around Gibbs and Elliott. I mean, I think it's a guarantee, but It's certainly possible. And I think he'll be better than Eric Jones. So he'll probably be riding close to the front and picking up fast laps here and there with the track position. And then obviously having a decent pit stall selection. And their pit crew is usually pretty good. Colin says, on FanDuel, I have Hamlin, Logano, Reddick, Cindric. Do you think I should go with Chastain or Bell? I would prefer Bell. You get one extra spot, and he looked a little bit faster. Who's my favorite play, sub 5% owned? I'll be honest, they all kind of suck. Let me look at some of the guys that have under 5% projected ownership. It's not many. I'm seeing Stenhouse, Gregson, McDowell. I'll be honest, I don't like any of these. I had to pick one. Maybe McDowell, I guess. I don't give him really. Would you put LaJoy and Cindric in the same lineup? That's fine. Nothing really against that. Is having Cindric and Nemechek in the same lineup stretching too much? No, not at all, because those guys are going to allow you to fit in some guys up top. And Nemechek starting inside the top 20, so it's not like we have a back marker trying to claw his way to a top 30 with him. Pearson says winning lineup on GPP for DraftKings as Briscoe, Hamlin, Eric Jones, Logano, McDowell, and Reddick. It'd be really low owned with McDowell and Eric Jones. I'm not really high on McDowell today though. Norman says Kyle Larson all the way. No problem at all, Pearson. What's up, Chuck Oldham? I'm sorry, CP. I'm late. I'm always late too. Don't apologize. John Group this week. I probably answered that. I'm so far behind, so I'm just going to assume I answered that for you already. And you're welcome. Battle Bump God says, would you run a lineup with Gibbs and Hamlin? It depends on me. If I'm playing one lineup today, I'm probably not doing that. But if I'm building multiple, I will have some lineups that filter out that way. Go 3 wide. 3 must-haves, 3 to leave out, 3 to get weird with 20 mag. 3 must-haves for me, probably Hamlin, Bell, and Cindric. 3 to leave out. I mean, I probably said pretty much who I hate so far, but McDowell, Gregson, those kind of guys are ugly. Me, don't really see myself getting the too much of. I mean, just kind of obvious. I hate to say it. But 3 to get weird with. I'll give you 4. I mean, I like Gibbs and Elliott as potential dominators. I like Ross Chastain. Not going to be weird, but I do want to be overweight on him. I make that a priority. And then Tyler Reddick as well. How was Larson on laps? Says Norman. Lap times weren't the best in the field, but they weren't horrendous. 20th in 1 lap, 18th to 5. It's better in the long run. 13th, and 7th. We're supposed to have more fall off with this tire. We know Kyle Larson's really good at managing his tires, so wouldn't surprise me if we see in a long run where Kyle Larson's making some hay. On FanDuel, do I like Truex, Logano, Bell, Chastain, and Cindric? Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm curious to see how much Truex will end up getting on FanDuel. I feel like it won't be a ton, but he will be lower owned. Thoughts on Truex plus 150 head-to-head against Bell? I'm not a big fan of that. I think Bell's got a much better car. Based off of practice, please. Jason says, do you think 3 Doms is too many? Getting a lot of Hamlin, Bell, and Joey together in builds? No, it's a fine combination because I looked at some builds earlier and you can definitely make that work. As far as I know, nobody's going to the rear. I can check Bob's Twitter really quick. There's like the first tweet that pops up. I guess not today. All right, Bob's Twitter is up and I'm seeing cars being pushed pit road. Josh Berry's car has been repaired and gone through tech, replaced nose and front splitter. We drop behind any other cars to the rear if we have to make adjustments based on morning check. Doesn't sound like it so far. On FanDuel, Chastain or Bell, I'll go with Christopher Bell there. Bob will swap the Cindric to Berry for ownership reasons. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty close in projection, so if money's not an issue there, sure. Metro's going with Blaney. You know I can always get down with some Blaney. Welcome, John. Here's my top 5 dominators in order. Well, the top dom order for me right now is Hamlin by a lot, then Byron, Bell, Chastain, and Gibbs. I mean, after Hamlin though, they're all pretty bunched together. 5,700 left on DraftKings. Who am I picking? Like I'm going Zane Smith there. But like Ty Gibbs or Elliott better on FanDuel. Well, projection wise, I have Chase out a little bit higher on FanDuel. No love for Gregson. Just in a really tough starting spot. Really tough. Qualified 7th. Practice 26th, 28th, 28th. I don't think he's going to be a borderline top 30 car, but I would say almost guaranteed he moves back. And then you have guys like Nemechek in 19th, practice better. Austin Cindric in 34th. It's going to be a tough path for guys like McDowell and Gregson today. Other than Hammond, who are the other doms to have in DK Cash? Christopher Bell, another guy I want to get to there. And then you can fit Joey. Sure, but if not, that's really the only doms I would say you need. Okay. Maybe Chastain if you can fit him in. Jason says, Hamlin, Bush, Chastain, Bowman, Berry, and Nemechek. Would you change any? No, I think it's fine because you have two downs with Hamlin and Chastain. If you're a believer in Bush today, then the rest is pretty good. DraftKings tournament strategy this week. You gotta nail your dominators. You gotta make sure you have at least two. You're gonna try to be overweight on guys like Tyler Reddick, Elliott, Ty Gibbs, hoping they can just pick up a good finish and just steal some fast laps from potentially Denny starting up front. Then I also like Ross a lot. There's a guy here who we like in this week. I'm behind, so you probably already know at this point. Thoughts on Briscoe? Very good at Phoenix. Didn't love what we saw in practice, but he should be able to hang around the top 10. I think throughout the day, maybe get a couple of fast laps mixed in. $50 single entry. Hamlin, Blaney, Bubba, Chastain, Gralla, and LaJoy. Gralla's a little nasty, but if he can just survive the race and some other guys wreck out. I do not Gilbert. I post some optimal percentages in there, which obviously it's not going to be what I would exactly be at, but it's a good reference on the projections tab. Who's your favorite 5K guy in DraftKings? Zane Smith, Harrison Burton, the ones that pop a little bit for me, but they're all very ugly down there. What's up, Rick? Says, I got Hamlin, Elliott, Logano, Wallace, Cindric, and 7,300 left. Best pick for the last spot. Well, best pick for me under 7,300 bucks. Looks like Josh Berry. I don't think you had him yet, so I would say Berry. Do I think Jones can keep a top 10 today? Seems the best car and has track position, which is huge here. What percent do you think he comes in? 4 GBP. I have him just outside the top 10. Just outside there. There's just so many good cars that have to move their way through the field, so I think Eric Jones will probably have a tough time fending them off for the majority of the race. I don't think he's going to run poorly, though. Ownership-wise, I have him coming in around... I can find him. I think close to 15%. It felt a bit high, but I do think the guys usually get a bit of a practice bump, and I could see that happening. Even though he is starting fourth, he is cheap enough, and you're just getting a cheap Toyota. So I could see the ownership getting bumped up a little bit there. It feels a little bit high, though, but even with my projections here, I gave him an 11th-ish place finish. That's only around 27 points. He still pops a decent amount. Do I dare pair Elliott and Hamlin on DraftKings? That's fine. I mean, you have a potential dominator starting in third at $8,800 in a Hendrick car. Hard not to like a little bit, right? So I think you can pair that together. Elliott does not have to be perfect today. I gave him like an 8th place finish. I gave him, how many dominator points did I give him? So the projection on Elliott for me today, I gave him just around an 8th place finish. Gave him 18.5 laps led. Decent mix of fast laps in there. That equates to 40.5 points. Not bad, 4.6x. I mean, is he the best play on the slate? No, but there's upside for more. There's also downside for less. That's why he's a tournament play. Favorite DK value sub 6.5K. That's Austin Cindric for me. Cal says, is there a world where Hamlin loses that top spot early and somebody else leads a massive amount of laps? I'm looking at Byron out of the pits. Anybody else looking to take that top spot? Right? It's certainly possible. If Denny's not going to get it done, it's pretty much going to have to be somebody starting inside the top 6 early on. So most likely candidates there, probably Gibbs, Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Tyler Reddick. I don't see Eric Jones dominating, but one of those 5, including Denny, someone's going to have to lead stage 1. I don't really see it happening from anybody else. So. But pits, I mean, obviously anything can happen in the pits, but pit stop should be kind to Denny Hamlin. He's in the best pit stall. And where the timing line is, I mean, you're just in you have a very good advantage on pit road if you qualify first here. Eric says I'm getting rich. Oh, what's up, Sean's brother? Much cooler brother, I should. Although Sean, I got 25,000 on the Xfinity race yesterday, so we got some work to do to beat him out. Skyler says Aaron. Did I say Aaron Jones? If I did, I must have been thinking about NFL. Stump's core is Hamlin, Blaney, Chastain, and Bubba, and Kaz. Kaz in a core is interesting, to say the least. I like the rest. Curious why Gralla would be in the core. But wish you the best on it. Tyler says, does Hocevar have real speed? We kind of out last week, but ran well. Can he be optimal if he stays in the top 15? Yeah, if he stays in the top 15, it really just depends on what the other guys in this price range do. Like, if Cindric smashes, it's going to be hard for Hocevar to be optimal as well. So if we look at the heat map for Hocevar, if he finishes 10th, right where he starts, he gets 34 points. I would say that's unlikely. If he finishes 15th, we're talking 23 points. I have him finishing, I think, anywhere in that 15 to 20 range, which puts him around 15 to 23 points. Maybe he could take off a couple of fast laps, which gets him a few more, but he's definitely in a tougher spot. But he does have speed according to practice, at least in the short run. I think I answered the FanDuel and DraftKings scoring difference. No. Eric Jones better not fall behind. I mean, I don't think he's going to run P4 all day. He's probably going to move back a little bit, but just a matter of how much. It's a bit of a mix, Nicholas. I mean, you want some guys up front, but you can mix in some of the back guys as well. It's just kind of like a balance. Hamlin and Larson together, that can work. You're welcome, Colin. Jim says, hi, Chris. Long time no see. Would you fade Elliott today? What's up, Jim? I wouldn't necessarily fade Elliott. We have a cheap potential dom at Phoenix in a short flat track where track position is important. You know, a decent pit stall to pick from. I don't think being out on Elliott probably is the smartest move. I don't think he's got the best car in the field by any means, but he's got track position and he's cheap. Oh, I got some donuts here from Pugsley. I appreciate it. I don't know why those don't pop up sometimes. It says Elliott or Reddick today. I prefer Reddick slightly. And the lineup, we have Hamlin, Bell, Chastain, Reddick, Cindric, Burton, Hamlin, Logano, Chastain, Reddick. Joy. I think I slightly prefer the first one there. Trying to, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the first one. It says jam Yodas and Fords. I can get behind that. What's up, Lena? Thanks for stopping by. And he says a lot of leverage for Briscoe on FanDuel. What is his price on FanDuel? Can't find him. $8,000. Yeah, I can't imagine really anyone's gonna get a Briscoe fan. Trying to get low and play that could sneak in the top 10. Yeah. Gibbs or Briscoe on FanDuel? I had Gibbs a little bit higher. Pretty close though. I have Briscoe at 65.9. I got Gibbs at 67.1. So it's like we're splitting hairs. Nemechek or LaJoy? I prefer Nemechek a little bit more. Should I pick Bell or Elliott for outright winner? Disregarding odds, I'd rather have Bell there. Elliott or Busch? I have Bush projected a little bit higher, but if it is for tournaments, I think we'll get Elliott probably lower owned, so I'd side there. Thoughts on Hamlin, Chase, Joey, Bell, Cindric, and Gralla? We got some Gralla love today, I've noticed. I'm not seeing a ton of potential there. 33rd, 34th, 36th in practice. Maybe he surprises us. We will see. Other than that, I mean, I like the rest. Bush or Elliott on FanDuel? Well, Bush will project better. But, yeah, I just have my concerns about him. About these RCR cars today. What's up, Geb? Hopefully it's a good race for you. I mean, the Watermelon Man looks like he should be primed. Briscoe is okay in GPP. Not like a priority, but he is okay. Kyle says, is this the race where Byron a couple years ago just kept gaining like 7 spots out of pits because he had the pole? Maybe. I think it was, remember Charlotte? I think it was the Charlotte race this year, the 600, where I'm pretty sure Byron, he would come into pit 6, he'd come out first, he would suck on the restart, they'd have another restart, go down to the pits, goes in 6, comes out first again. He had the first pit stall, so I mean, it might have been, I just don't remember, but yeah, the Byron crew at some of the tracks in the past has been a bit cracked. As far as I know, no, Michael. I haven't seen anyone in the rear. Yeah, I like Bubba Wallace today, Daniels. Practice looked good. Certainly should have some top 15 upside. He projects well for me. Bernie says I played 20 laps. I have him in 60% of my laps. Is that too much? No. I mean, he'll probably end up being like 40, 50% owned today, I'd imagine. Unless I'm a little too high and the place differential gets more juice, but I feel like he'll probably be in the 40s. So, I mean, if you wanted to up that, if you wanted to be even more overweight, I understand. I like Bowman today. Bowman's like a slightly worse play than Bubba Wallace, in my opinion. They're pretty close, though. Optimal-wise, Bubba projected a little bit better, though. Then some Nemechek. I prefer Nemechek. You're welcome, Pugsley. David says, I like Christopher Bell today. Me and you both. Very, very good. Between that bunch, Sarugi, I would say Reddick, I guess. Tough, though. I like all three. Logano or Bell on DraftKings. I would prefer Bell. Seth says number 1 pit box in Phoenix is huge. It sure is. I mean, it can really help you out. Come in third. I mean, I was watching Cole Custer. He made some work on pit road yesterday, too. From that first pit stall. David says, Bell, Cindric, Elliott, Gibbs, Hamlin. Nemechek, what do you think, Chris? Pretty top heavy. I mean, you have 3 guys in the top 3. So you pretty much need them to run top 3 for the most part. So understand the risk with that. That would be Denny Josh. Thoughts on top 4 for fantasy? 1 Hamlin, 2 Blaney, 3 Chastain, 4 Byron. Like just for finishing position today? Top 4 finishing position? I have that as Hamlin, Bell, Blaney, Byron. That would stop by 1. Justin says Blaney, Cindric, Elliott, Hamlin, Jones, and LaJoy. I can get with that. When LaJoy's in the bag, I have a hard time skipping him. It's a little easier to do with these shorter flat tracks, but yeah, he is a decent play today. LaJoy or Hocevar? I prefer LaJoy. Appreciate you, Sarugi. Thanks for being here. Did I actually catch up to the chat today? It might be a miracle. Do you have any more questions? Leave them down. I have not built yet. Still got about 2 hours to build, though, so it's not like we're in a rush. No problem, Rick. Time to build. See you in Discord. Yes, I will be in Discord after this. It says, sorry, I went to the party. Where do you have Blaney projected to finish at today? I had him at 5.99, which technically is 3rd behind Hamlin and Bell. Might be a bit much on Blaney, but I do like him a lot. DFS, it's a little bit harder to get there, but he's just been so good at Phoenix. Jacob says, come on, Harrison Burton. Yeah, we'll see. Jim says, for value or punt play, Haley Burton, please pick one. I think I prefer Burton just a little bit more. Daniel says, lots of pick talk, and regardless of stall he's in, I'm constantly terrified of Hamlin speeding. Real tough to not start a build with him, though. I agree with that. The man that has, I feel like the penalty penalty guys this year so far, I believe, have been Ross and Kyle Busch. They just cannot go a race without having any issues, speeding wise or whatever. That says they're a site that has the best average practice speed. I mean, I have it on my spreadsheet that I look at, but you can go to NASCAR's website and they should have something up there. Would you play Joey and Blaney together? Yeah, that's fine. But if you play them together, you have to make sure you have at least someone up front because you're going to miss out on those early dominator points. What's up, Dave Palma? No problem. Thoughts on two Austins? You haven't said anything yet. I'm not a huge fan of Austin Dillon today. I just don't really see RCR having much speed at all. But Cindric, yes. Cindric's one of the absolute chalk plays of the entire slate. Top 3 on drivers on DraftKings. I can see it being Hamlin, Cindric, and Bell. Probably the starting point for most people today. Kenny says FanDuel, Logano, Reddick, or Bell and Wallace. It's tough. Probably Logano and Reddick. Derek says FanDuel, Cash, Hamlin, Bell, Logano, Wallace, and Cindric. Wouldn't talk you off of it. Looks pretty solid. I feel like there's a decent amount of money on the table there. Says haven't heard anyone say Suarez's name today. I got one Suarez question. Probably gonna be very low today. I think he kind of runs where he starts. Not always the worst thing in the world. BQ says, how late am I? Pretty late. Pretty late. About an hour and a half in. Cindric or Jones? I prefer Cindric. Let me double check Bob's Twitter, make sure no one got sent to the rear. Nope, that's from Bobby P. Jacob says, Suarez is a good pick in tourneys, probably just because of ownership. I wouldn't go too crazy. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick like one super low-owned guy today, I would say Suarez is probably it, just because the guys that are super low-owned are. Okay. Phoenix is not a bad track to play a little chunky. It says the top 10 really in the cards, you think? For Suarez? What? I don't see it happening. BQ, who you got for cash game plays? For cash, you pretty much want to start with Hamlin, Bell, Cindric. Like a starting point. Wouldn't hate it if you can get Chastain in there. Maybe Bubba. You can fit him in. Thoughts on Gillen? Slow in the back, but the thing is, all these cheap plays are terrible, so I can understand getting a little bit of Gillen. I got him projected for 16 points. Could probably do worse. Need one driver, 7,500 and down on DraftKings. First one that pops up for me is going to be Josh Berry. You disregard Cindric. Thoughts on Zane today? Didn't show as much speed as I would have liked. I would say Zane's probably the best 5K driver, though. What's the best strategy for FanDuel single entry? You pretty much want to play it kind of similar to DraftKings. I mean, not as much of a reliance on dominator points, but just playing the guys you think can finish well, and if you can get a little bit of place differential mixed in, go for it. But I'm less inclined to play the cheaper drivers on FanDuel as much compared to DraftKings. Will Barry be optimal? I have him optimal around 20% of the time, I believe. Yeah, 20%. Probably right around where his ownership is, so. I don't dislike Barry. I don't like him either. I mean, I like him a little bit. You know what I mean? Even on the field, Barry's fine. Can you argue LaJoy is the pit off of Cindric? Hocevar has speed, and that team has been good with speed all year. Yeah, you can argue it. I mean, projection-wise, obviously, Cindric's going to look better, but looking at LaJoy's practice times, 18th, 23rd, 27th, like that's super impressive. But Hocevar did look quick. And Inspire was quick last week. Not that that matters too much for this week, but it was at least nice to see. Daniel says, pricing consideration, how do you rank the priority of these values? Barry, Priest, Nemechek, and Cindric. Cindric number 1. I believe Nemechek number 2, Barry number 3, and Priest number 4. Jordan Nemechek for cash. Ugh. I have Nemechek projected better. Obviously, there's a lot more risk. Starting in 19th. I have them within 2 points. So if you just want to ride with LaJoy there, get it. Yeah, some odd switch. Looks like Denny went from 550 to 500 on DraftKings. Not really seeing anything else much changed. Wes says LaJoy had bad practice last week as well and came to the field before problems. I don't think LaJoy was that bad in practice. I think he was. Oh, where did LaJoy start? Around 17th? Remember correctly? And he was practicing around 15th. I believe. That wasn't too bad. I feel like a little bit slower this week. Sorry, Hunter. Trying to wrap it up. Jim says, Chris, sorry I didn't hear about Gillen. I said slow and probably sucks, but the 5K guys were so bad this week where 16-point projection might not be the absolute worst play back there. But I'm not going my way to play Gillen. I'm just going to play whoever fits at the end at that point. I don't think Hocevar is going to maintain a spot. I think he'll fall back a bit. But if he can challenge for a top 15, I think anywhere from that 15th to like 18th range is probably solid for Hocevar. But says Larson low owned. I feel like he isn't being talked about at all. I haven't really got many Larson questions. I do think he'll be lower owned today. I think anywhere from that 15 to 20% range. It's just going to be hard because everyone's going to play Hamlin and Bell. And at that point, you just can't really fit in another 11K driver. Yeah, I bet you do want to talk about Truex, Tito. We have had some Truex questions. He's kind of in like no man's land where I don't have a ton of interest. RFK is in play. I would prefer Keselowski, though, a little bit more. Bowman's fine. Bowman's pretty much the same play as Bubba, but I like him slightly less. All right. I think we can probably end the stream here. So there's no more dire questions. I'll get out of here. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me on your Sunday. I think we have Bristol next week, which that's a very fun track. Obviously, I love it. Got it behind me. So looking forward to that. Appreciate the donos. Appreciate all the questions. Wish you all the best of luck today. And I'll see you all next time.